So Ezra, I just got done. I got done watching a concert. That's how my day's been going. I got to watch my favorite band in concert. That relates to our topic today, but we're gonna get into that later. How's your day been?
Uh, I actually woke up at a decent time. I woke up before noon
That's a
today.
shocker.
Yeah. So did. I got caught up on my work. So now I have free time without having that hang over my head. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, you got some homework done. That's some good.
Yep.
That's good stuff because more time to podcast, more time to write for the podcast,
Welcome to Podcast.
and
More
more
like
time to play what's been keeping me up at night, which is Valheim. So Valheim it's a survival game, as you know, because we played together. Brand new indie
yeah.
game. It comes out of Coffee Stain Studio, which is the same company that put out my boys Satisfactory. I'm wearing their hoodie right
It's a
now.
pretty satisfying game.
Valheim is it's like an MMO and a survival sandbox combined. I'd like to say
Yeah.
that's a nice
And
mouthpiece you got there.
Viking themed. Thank you.
So it's your Viking MMO survival game. It's pretty fun. Lots of grinding, lots of bosses. Bosses are fun. I like games with bosses because
But why exactly has it been keeping you up all night? Because they gotta hear the
so
reason.
Ezra's been on he's been on a rampage. Okay, so we had a world and then he decided to restart it because we got like three new players recently
I shot it
onto
right
our
in the
world.
head.
Well, we had two new players, but then a third one joined like not long after we started the new world. And so because of that, he restarted the world, and so we had to grind resources, but we're like farther than we've ever been before. And so we got to iron, which iron is like third highest or something like that.
Mhm.
And so I decided that because the only way that you can get iron is to go into the swamp. Well, there are a couple ways to get iron. I found out, but you go into the swamp and you like mine. You go into these little dungeons, these little dungeon boys called ancient crypts, and you just get iron through those. And so I went on, got about 1,200 iron. That's a ridiculous amount. We have yet to smelt it all even. And then the next day, he decided to build a big wall, like Great Wall of China big. Well, it's not
Yeah,
that big, but it's a thick wall, a chunky wall. And so I had to
tall.
go on, and I got 5,000 or so stone for him.
Which is also a completely absurd amount.
Yeah, that's.
Um, it's it's a lot.
I
Have
got
not
how
burned
many
through any of
cartfuls? Two. No, there's a lot. There was a lot more than two
two.
cartfuls. That was
No, it
probably.
was two cartfuls,
But it was
but
two
that's
and a
more
ton on the ground and chest full. It was a lot.
two chests full,
But
two
thankfully,
carts.
you don't have to smelt stone, so that's a step out of the process. So that's a bit easier on your part,
Yep.
right? Yeah. All right. What's been keeping you up at night besides Valheim as well? But I just have a
Well,
feeling that mine has been a bit
tying it in. Here
yeah.
comes a perfect
Tying it in.
segue.
Good
So
segue.
Valheim, Trevor and I, we decided that it would be fun to sail to the edge of the world, see what's there. And before we hit it, I told Trevor, "Hey, can you look up what happens in
Yeah.
case we like die or something?" Right? So the first video that is there is an invisible wall, and they're running along it, right?
They're just like
So
slamming
I'm like,
into it
"All
a
right,
bunch.
yeah,
And so
clearly there's a wall there."
yeah.
So we sail at it, and we're like, "Yeah, this is fine." I hit something, so I'm like, "Yeah, there's a wall there." And then Trevor gets sucked out of the ship, and I'm like, "Where did he go? What's going on?" And then I turn around to get away from the edge and get sucked backwards over the side, and we died and lost everything.
So it appears that there was a temporary wall that stopped you from immediately sailing over it. But if you decided to make the same mistake again, something bad would happen.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit of a warning, but after that you're kind of screwed, and we got screwed.
But as a result, we are now kind of co-writing a an epic an epic poem in song form to commemorate the
An
event.
epic poem in song form. It's an
Yeah.
awfully long way to put it. Yeah, we're writing an epic song about Valheim with
Yeah.
with lots of bass instruments,
Which
lots of
segues
low
into
end. No, no, hold on.
oh, I got a
And
whole lot
I
to
just
say.
I just want to tie this back to the reason that I got the iron in the first place because we had no gear. We were kind of
Wow.
screwed, and so I had to go and being a good boy like I am, I went and I got a bunch of iron so that we could. You should send it to. Oh, nice, yeah. So, Sorry. So this time I'm streaming, and so I get to read chat this time. Um, and so I went and got iron so that we could have gear again, so that we wouldn't lose that much progress. And so well, things happen. But anyways, like you were saying,
Topic for another day.
yeah,
So
we'll probably talk
segue,
about Valheim at some point. Valheim's big
song.
fun.
Songs are music, so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Songs are music. Thanks. I never knew. Yeah, songs are music. So I think that there's a good way to separate music. It's either you have music, you listen to music, which is a majority of the world population, I'd say. There are less people who play music than people who listen to music.
Yeah.
So there's playing and listening to music, right? So I
Yeah.
want to start. Ezra, what kind of music have you listened to throughout your life? What did you start listening to? What got you inspired? Got you into music in the first place? And what are you listening to now?
Well, I was a boring middle schooler and barely ever listened to any music.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
Till about freshman year, I guess, was when
Yeah.
I really started listening to music. Maybe 8th grade. Um, Started with 2000, like Gorillaz. So like 2000s British pop music, basically.
Classic. Classic.
2010s,
Sorry.
yeah, whatever.
Don't want to offend anyone who listens to like 70s, even later than that. It's classic and
Listen
you know.
listen to Marty Robbins, which is like country and western. Yeah, I'm a country boy. I live in Kentucky. Um,
Yeah, because Kentucky is so country. Wild West is in
yeah,
Kentucky.
both country state. Yep,
Yeah.
definitely.
It's the Wild
Um,
West of Kentucky is the part that they leave out.
yeah,
It's just the western
which is
half.
where definitely. Wait, no, I guess yeah, kind of.
Jesus.
Anyway, I'm gonna continue talking, even though because you can probably hear me. Um, Country western, swing music, which is a type of jazz, but it's more orchestrated. It's not freeform jazz or solo focused.
Yeah.
It's band focused, which I like.
I mean
And
that's kind of that's what we did. We'll talk about that a bit more later, I'd say.
yeah, and then I guess that about sums it up. Movie soundtracks too. I listen to.
Movie soundtracks. I've never listened
Um,
to soundtracks like that because I just feel like they're there to accompany the art
a lot
rather
of the
than
times they
to
are,
be the art. There are a
but
couple soundtracks I enjoy.
some
I'm
composers.
guessing you listen to Lord of the Rings soundtrack.
Lord of the Rings I like, but that's more like background music for when I'm doing things like mining 1200 iron. Also, uh, spaghetti westerns like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Good soundtracks on those. And that's pretty much it. Whatever else comes up on autoplay on YouTube, because that's where I listen to all my music. So, see if I can stall for a little longer. But that about sums up what I listen to.
So I heard my mother is quite angry. She decided to slam the door the first time, and so now she's mad because I told her to go away. Uh, what did you say at the end?
Movie
You're
soundtracks, especially spaghetti westerns. And
okay.
yeah, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit.
What about swing? Did you say swing? You probably said swing.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're just a white boy. That's all I know you for.
I play, well, we'll get to that later, but I play saxophone.
Yeah, so Ezra and I have rather different music tastes, I'd say. I mean, I think we can both listen to what each other like and not be appalled. We can be fine with
Yeah,
it. Um, I
I
I
rather like Sinister Minister, I found.
yeah, that's some funk, but when I was young, I have very fuzzy memories of listening to music with my dad because my dad was in like a band when he was in high school and all that stuff, and so I remember listening to like Black Sabbath and Rush because Rush is like his favorite band of all time, and those are like my very early memories. Like I don't really remember a lot. Like I don't have those specific memories, but I can recall them. You know, Iron Man by Black Sabbath, Fly by Night by Rush, that kind of stuff. And I recall the first real music memory I made, the like kind of vivid one. I recall listening to Stereolithic, which is a more recent 311 album. 311 is my favorite band of all time, really. And it's a more developed album, but it was kind of a nice ease because that was when as bands get older they mellow out their sound, and so by introducing me into that, I feel like I was able to, take that mellow sound and I was able to do what I wanted with it, explore their earlier stuff, which is it's a lot more fast paced and, kind of rap rocky, that kind of thing. And so, as I developed this taste for music, as I graduated myself in, I listened to a lot of 311, and then I recall in middle school, I had a group of friends. They played video games and stuff like that with me, and they listened to a lot of power metal, like Sabaton and Powerwolf. And Sabaton writes songs about history, so they basically they narrate great historic events, which is they have a very good way of doing it. I think it's not very literal. And I recall my dad listened to Sabaton with me, and he didn't mind them, and so he introduced me to Alexander the Great, which is a song by Iron Maiden on Wasted Years, I want to say. It's definitely that album. And Alexander the Great, it's obvious about Alexander the Great. It's kind of a historic retelling, and so I got into that kind of classic metal for a little while. It didn't go much past Iron Maiden, but I really loved Iron Maiden for a while, and they have a big catalog, so I was listening to that as much as I could, really. I don't really remember though, because I just recall my music taste softening back out. I went back to 311. I was listening to a lot of that, and then I started listening to pop punk probably late 2 years ago. I want to say that this ties into the next topic when I got my first bass, and I listened to Holiday by Green Day, which is off American Idiot, probably one of the greatest pop punk albums of all time. And so I remember I was kind of infatuated with that song, right? And so I decided I was going to listen to some more Green Day, and I really started to love them. Then I go back, I listened to a lot of the earlier Green Day. I didn't listen to pretty much anything later than that. But then it kind of expanded into Blink 182, Sum 41, Operation Ivy, all these other early pop punk bands, not even early necessarily, just other pop punk bands. And so that's my phase right now. I love all kinds of music still. I can listen to anything. I listen to funk, I listen to rap, I listen to whatever really. I don't listen to much modern rap. Um, like I said last time, MGK's new album. These are all big things that have made me love pop punk. It's just a very fun genre. It kind of takes an edge off of hardcore, which hardcore kind of scares me because it's just so bashful and stuff like that. And it's fun. I like it. It's energetic. It's a very easy listening kind of music. And so, when I'm doing other things, I can mindlessly listen to them. It's not an active listening kind of thing.
That kind of goes with movie soundtracks for me.
Yeah,
If I'm mindlessly
like you
listening to
said.
something, it's
If
either going to be swing,
hmm
particularly slower swing, or movie soundtrack, especially Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings has very background music, but it's really good background music. Like it sticks in your head. It's got good melodies and stuff.
Yeah, I think that
Um,
they're different because, to me, those soundtracks are some of them are complex. They're nice like that, but they are background music. That's what they're made for. They're
yes.
made to they're made to emphasize what's around it.
Although
Meanwhile, yeah,
some songs are set pieces.
yeah,
So like favorite example of which is Ecstasy of Gold from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which is the probably seen it somewhere. You've heard it in Corona commercials for the beer. They have it as their song. Um, but that song is it's very set piece. Like it's kind of the center because it's a lot of visual. It's like a lot of camera visuals, like fancy camera work. But it's also that song,
hmm
and that movie culminates at that point. That's like its climax, basically, or I guess falling action. But that kind of associates. So like I think some songs are more active in the soundtrack like that, and I'd listen to that more actively than
yeah.
other parts of that
And I
soundtrack.
think I think that's the thing about pop punk is you can actively listen to it, but it's very verse chorus, simple guitar riffs, just kind of fun lyrics. It's not anything that requires really active listening. Like there are songs that I can just sit there and listen to, and that's all I'm doing. But then I can do that with pop punk. It's not like I'm doing that all the time, but I can do that, and it can be the background because it's so simple, it's so catchy, and stuff like that. And like I said, so Holiday got me into playing the bass, but there were a lot of instruments that we played before that. I'd say,
And we can start well in the same place, same two
yeah,
places, same two
same place,
instruments.
same place, really.
Well,
So it
if you
was,
consider recorder.
yeah. So in some back in Sembach, where we lived in Germany, that's where we met each other. I think that the main reason that we connected was over band, because we both started on the recorder together, and we were getting our belts, which were just little strings of
Yeah.
various colors. Um,
Don't catch 'em all.
so we started on recorder, and obviously, I'm pretty sure recorder that was like that was you had to do that. That was required by Lydia. And so we did that, but I think you and I enjoy music because there were some people who didn't like it, and they would just drop out right after that because that it was no longer required to play a band instrument or an orchestra instrument. And so you and I, we went on to an actual band, kind of an orchestra band. And so we played clarinet. Clarinet's a
Yeah.
fun instrument.
I have
It,
no
it,
idea how
it's
to play it.
it's the starter's reed instrument. Um,
For some reason, I think saxophone would be a better starter reed instrument than clarinet because clarinet is a strange beast of an instrument.
why do you say that?
It's hard to play well because if you don't play it well, you sound like you're squeak. You sound like Squidward.
Bro,
Everyone got called
Squidward's a
Squidward for playing
god.
clarinet.
Yeah, that was pretty much the thing.
Um, the fingering is all weird because the octaves are different. This is like woodwind geeking out. Trevor plays cooler instruments now,
Yeah,
but
I'm a cool boy.
uh,
Hear that, Ma? I know you're mad at me right now because you slammed my door. I
clarinet
told you to get
sucks.
out, but
Don't
you can
at
be
me.
happy with me because I play cool instruments. So you say
Like
clarinet sucks. So after
there's some people who are good at it, but I suck at it.
after I moved back to America, I played clarinet for a while more, but then I switched to the bass clarinet. Well, did I play bass clarinet in Sembach?
You started learning it at Simbach, but I don't think
Yeah.
you actually played it for any concerts.
I also
If I
I
remember, you
also
know.
our band teacher lived across the street from me, and she liked me, so she really wanted me to play like every saxophone. So there were days that I was carrying home a bari, a bass clarinet, a clarinet, and an alto. It was awful.
Ooh,
I took up two bus seats. I remember this. It was awful, but
I take up two bus seats with one
I
berry.
I didn't really like playing saxophone and stuff like that, and so I stuck with bass clarinet because I don't know. It just seemed more fun to me. There was something about it. I don't know. And I played that through almost the rest of middle school. I think. I want to say I stopped playing in 8th grade. Or maybe after 8th grade. I feel like it was more in the middle though. Because I moved around a bunch of middle schools, and so I went to four different middle schools, I want to say, and so yeah, so I was bouncing around and I wasn't getting involved with the band, and so eventually, not only did I not really enjoy playing that anymore, but it was also that I couldn't get myself involved with the band there. So I'm gonna let you
I
talk about your band evolution now, because that's pretty much me. I cut it off right after middle
Alright.
school.
So seventh grade. Well, did we start playing clarinet in sixth grade? Was it
Could be. No one
sixth
knows.
or seventh grade? I played clarinet sixth and seventh. Yeah, I think it was sixth and seventh. It had to have been 2 years. Um, and I actually got handed a saxophone over the summer. I got handed tenor over the summer, um, to learn, and I learned it wrong because I had no idea what I was doing. Um, made really stupid mistakes that I shouldn't have made because I've been playing clarinet, such as the upside down mouthpiece. My neck strap was messed up. But I like saxophone a lot more than I like clarinet.
Jazzy
I'm
boy.
surprised I'm surprised I didn't quit band after seventh grade because of the saxophone experience that I had. I'm surprised I still play saxophone because I didn't like practicing over the summer because I didn't know what I was doing. Um, skip through eighth grade. I have a bit more band stuff because I started doing band in high school again. There was no band at my middle school for eighth grade, which sucked. I did some percussion stuff, but they didn't have saxophone. I owned a saxophone, but no band to play it in.
Okay,
So
that's weird.
come freshman year, that's when marching band starts. And I wanted to play tenor, but I got stuck with this instead, which is a bari saxophone, which is bigger, heavier, and probably as big as I was when I was a freshman. Not really, but
You get the
um,
point. It's a big. It's that's a chunky feller.
that was an experience. And now I like bari more. I feel like if I played bass saxophone, that's all ever want to play. But I probably never will get to play bass saxophone, sadly, because bass saxophone is like the cooler saxophone that is large. But I've basically played saxophone.
You're never satisfied.
Nope. I want contrabass too. Give me the tubex saxophone. That thing's as big as a room.
You just want
It's
to
like
go bigger
playing
and
the
bigger.
organ. Yep.
Yeah. Stop smirking about that.
Sorry, everything you say I find completely funny.
Yeah. So Ezra is still in band today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that we have marching band supporter in the chat. So, I play bass. I play a real man's instrument. It's got metal strings that aren't really strings. I'd argue that they're chains, but not really because they're like a metal. They're like wires. They're wires with more wires wrapped around them. That's what bass strings are and guitar strings, and all the strings. Okay, they're wires. But we're gonna move on. We're doing a cool segment. Okay, this is a cool segment. I'd say. Right? This is different. It's a special segment.
It is different. Special.
So, we're gonna show off our prized possessions, right? Ain't that right?
Yep.
So, I guess I'll show off my first instrument that I've ever owned, really.
Kindergarten time. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. This is the first bass I ever owned, and probably the first instrument that I ever owned. I'm gonna move back just a little bit here. Gotta make sure that the sound quality remains good. Okay. So this is an Ibanez. It's a GSR 200. It's a PJ bass, so we have the precision pickups and we have the jazz pickup because it doesn't know what it wants to be. Okay, it's promiscuous. Promiscuous bass.
That's a way to put it.
And so this was kind of a cheap option that I could I got this for Christmas 2 years ago now. So this was kind of the first instrument that I ever owned, and it was the first instrument that my parents ever trust me with, really, because everything else had been school rented. The clarinets, the bass clarinets, you would bring those home, but at the end of the year they would go back to the school. And so I own this. It's definitely not a bad instrument. It doesn't sound great. It's not the greatest. It's got really weird active electronics that require a 12-volt battery. That's just that's very strange. But I'd say that this thing it kind of inspired me to keep playing, and I respect it. Okay, and I have the Epic Parental Advisory the explicit content sticker on it.
Sticker thing.
Yeah, so it's my first. It's sentimental. It's not great sounding. I still use it because I have it tuned down, so I don't have to tune my other instrument. I like this thing. I don't like to play it much anymore, but it's a fun little thing to start with. What about you, Ezra? What was your first instrument that you ever owned?
First instrument I owned was this beaut of a Chinese saxophone.
Ooh, Chinese?
I had to fix it myself because it came kind of broken. That's a funny story. That's why I didn't get a play tenor actually, because I didn't have this to march because it was in the shop to be repaired. So had to march this, and then now I like that.
But, so you were supposed to march a tenor, but instead you had to march a Barry because your tenor was broke.
Yeah, pretty much.
So fate has chosen.
It was more Mr. Ellis has chosen, which is our band director. Mr. Ellis puts you where he wants, and you do not complain. And I mean, yeah, it worked out fine. Now I have 2 saxophones in my room, so. But yeah. I don't take good care of this, do I? I need to take better care of it. I don't know if you can see that.
Well, you don't play it. You don't pay attention to it.
Nope, I should. Which key is it? That one. I don't know if you can see the corrosion because my webcam's kind of just a webcam.
You just leave it outside. It starts rusting over.
The lacquer is starting to come off there.
Oh, that's sad.
It could just because it's cheap in Chinese, but whatever. I like the way an old, crappy horn looks, like the Saturn that I played, which I don't have, sadly, because that was middle school. But it's got lots of clickety keys. I ordered it from Amazon. It's an Amazon saxophone. It's pretty cool. I don't really play it as much as I probably should, because it was like $300. But yeah, it's a fun little instrument. It's a lot smaller than the Barry. It's a lot more manageable. It's got cool engravings on it too.
I feel like the tenor is what people think of when they think of like jazz. Like they don't think of the big curvy berry. They think of the more normal looking sax. The alto looks like the tenor is just tiny.
It's also a little small. Like it's more compact. It's like a little. It's a little tiny.
It's the pocket tenor.
The curved soprano is a pocket alto. That thing is tiny. I don't know who decided they wanted a curve one.
And isn't there just a strip soprano that's like it looks like a clarinet but metal?
Yeah, that's the normal one.
I'm just flexing my saxophone knowledge. I love my saxophones.
You can keep going. You can keep going smaller and smaller.
Did we take you to that place in Belgium with the saxophones? Yeah.
That was on the trip where you went to Narnia, but that's a
whole other story.
Yeah.
Man, we're getting off track today. So let's see your berry then. I want to see your big chunky boy.
Oh boy, I gotta get up for this one. Ignore the fact that I'm wearing pajamas.
He's been wearing those since this morning.
So, how am I gonna get this all in frame?
I don't know.
My berry. It's a lot bigger.
I bet my basses are bigger. They're long boys.
I wouldn't doubt it, but this thing's heavy. It makes loud clacky noises, which...
Loud clackies. That's very important.
Noises. That's not really picking up, sadly. Maybe, I don't know. But it's a big saxophone. It's deeper, which makes it cooler because lower instruments are better. You
just pissed a lot of people off. Piccolo players in the comments right now shaking.
Hey, Piccolo's fine, I guess. It's just really high pitched, and I can't hear it. And berries are cool because they have a little extra key, which means I can play even lower than I normally would be able to.
Yeah, so it's double low. You also have an extra key, so it's by default lower, and then you add the extra key, and it's even lower.
Yeah.
You're all about that bass. All about that bass.
So much more fun to play.
No treble.
No treble. None. I've always preferred playing lower saxophone. Listen, woman, it's 11:26. My mom will come beat me with a flip-flop. I'm not doing that.
His girlfriend is in the chat. Sophia, who we interviewed last episode, is in the chat telling him to play. That's all we get.
That's all you get.
So
I'm not risking anymore.
So maybe we'll move on to my low boy.
Yeah.
Both of my boys sound the same if you tune them. The same. But I'm not gonna bore you all with my amp and stuff. I just got a new amp. It's some Rumble R35. It's got cool effects. I like them. They're fun. They don't really sound like the best, but they're fun. I'm not gonna bore you with that though. I'm not gonna bore you with my pick, whatever. So I'm gonna bring out this bad boy. Oh yeah, that's a sexy boy. Well, I'm gonna have to bring this back over. So this is my brand new Fender Squier jazz bass. It's the 70s Squier, so it's got this funky disco line. And it's got
when you're playing at the disco.
It's got some square fret inlays. They're pretty cool. So this thing sounds about a bajillion times better. It doesn't have active electronics, which some people prefer. I don't prefer them because I think that active electronics kind of funk with you. It's very bare bones. It's a good bass. It's got my maple neck. It's a big chunky body right here because it's a jazz bass. Jazz basses are just pretty sizable. It's rather hefty, which I don't like very much. It's a pretty heavy bass. But it's got your classic Fender headstock, obviously, which is a pain for stringing. But the thing that, like I said, the thing that really separates this from my old bass, well, it's a jazz bass first of all, so you have two jazz pickups instead of a precision and a jazz. But it sounds about 1,000 times better. It's clean, pure sound. It's not angelic. I've heard better basses, but for like a $400 bass, I think this is. It's around. I think it's $400. This thing is it's really nice quality. I love it so far. I'm planning on restringing it, maybe putting some flats or something like that. I could even do tape wounds because that would be fun, I think. My fear with tape wounds is that if I ever try picking them, I'm going to tear up the tape. That would not be fun. So I've had this since Christmas. I got this for. I'm the bass boy on Christmas. That's all I get is a bass. Big bass man.
Oh, you deserve.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But that's gonna be my tradition. Every Christmas I require bass.
Just progressively gets lower.
uh, I I think that maybe a precision bass. You might be asking. I've been talking about pop punk so much. Why didn't I get a precision? Because I got peer pressured. Okay, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Uh, I wanted to get into slapping, right? So I could be like, but cause Fleas is a jazz bass, and like Geddy Lee, all these famous guys who play cool alt stuff, they play jazz basses, and so I just thought it's a bit different, it's a bit cool, it's a bit funky, it's a bit jazzy, it's a bit fun, okay. So I decided to go with a jazz bass instead of a precision. Obviously, I want to own a precision, so I can play those epic Green Day riffs, right?
Yes.
But I'm very happy with this bass. It's definitely a keeper. It's very nice, and I'm happy with the quality that I got at Squire, because Squire's Fender's like little boy brand, and I'm very happy with this nice sleek black bass. Maybe a different color would have been cool, but I feel like black is calm, rather jazzish. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I do agree, because the saxophone, my dream saxophone, is a black lacquered, Selmer Paris, which is like top tier saxophones. They're like up there. Um, Black lacquered Barry Series 2. That thing has such a deep, like it's got a very rich tone from the recordings I've heard of it. Every saxophone's different because they all have their different quirks basically. Especially when you get to more expensive ones because most of them are handmade. Ooh,
Yeah.
fancy. But well,
So
not handmade, but like they're all individual. Like certain parts of it are just individually.
yeah.
I guess.
Instead of
Yeah,
being
they're
made
just
in the
different.
Chinese factory, they're made by the Chinese in
I
a
guarantee
small warehouse.
Yeah.
So you were talking about how low your instrument is, but I don't know if you can see this, but
Yeah, bass is lower automatically. I get it, but also
just because I can
it's
tune it all the way down.
it's rant time.
I just completely
I'm
fucked up my
going.
tuning. Oh, it's time for a
I'm going.
rant?
I'm
Is there a
going to
rant?
rant. I'm going to rant about how I cannot play this because of my playing style. I don't play quiet. I can't. I
So why
love
do you
being
play
loud.
it? Hold on, let me get back in the podcast
Oh
positioning. Why do you play it?
no, I can play it during the day, but I hear you playing
Oh.
bass at like
Well, yeah,
uh
because it doesn't make noise unless I plug it into an amp.
uh-huh. Yeah.
And so
And
it just makes buzzy noises that resemble the notes. It sounds like the notes if you're listening, but you have to like really pluck and stuff. It's just vibraty boys.
yeah, but I don't have that luxury, do I? So I have to not practice
Get
and
wrecked, nerd.
I always want to practice at night, and I play loud because it's more fun than playing like a
That's
classical.
that's the problem with acoustic instruments. Like even the acoustic bass is kind of quiet. Like if you listen to an acoustic bass compared to the guitar is much
Yeah.
louder still. It's just something with the sound waves and low notes and stuff.
But I've developed a Barky style because I listen to a certain artist called Leo P or Too Many Zoos, and it's like a street saxophonist, and his whole thing is
Loud is funny.
he's loud is funny. Um, loud is funny.
Thanks,
But
Oso. That was really nice. I think that was worth it.
but he plays Barry. He's loud, and I kind of developed my style because I listened to that as I was learning to play that.
Too many zoos is like too many.
Bro, you don't need to tell me twice. They're loud. They
Too
go
many.
into subways at three. They
Too
go into
many
subways.
zoos, Ezra. Too many zoos.
Also, I have no idea what a Zeus is, but there it is for you. But yeah, I don't like acoustic instrument, or I don't like electric instruments because they can be played quietly. So screw you. Although there is an electric saxophone now.
You just ranted about your shit being acoustic, and now oh wait, electric saxophone?
Yes, sir. There is. Well,
Are you talking about the saxoboom?
I learned the saxoboom riff. If anyone or riff.
Rift. You learned the
Just throw an extra
saxoboom
keys.
rift.
I learned
We're
the
getting
saxoboom.
so off topic here. It's funny, but we have
It's
time
still
to
music. I mean, we're at the end of it, so
Yeah, this is the end. We're gonna talk about the saxoboom now. So if you don't care about the saxoboom, you can just leave.
But,
Good day to you.
I recommend looking it up so you can learn the saxoboom riff. It's Jack Black. It'll be very funny.
Jack Black made the saxoboom famous on his Tenacious D concerts.
Yep. And it's a children's toy saxophone.
And it sounds
children's
epic.
toy. It does. The riff is pretty crazy. I'd play it, but again, I'll get beat with a flip flop.
Oh, we have an ooh in chat.
That's all about the saxoboom, I guess. I mean, it's nice and bright. It's bright colors. So if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you're into bright colors like yellow and red. Ezra, I have a question. Do we have like a rubber band or a hairband or whatever that was today? What was it that you threw at the camera last time to end it?
Nope, but I have a rock.
What did you throw last time?
Huh?
What did you throw at the camera last time?
I did throw a rubber. I threw a hair tie, but it's very far away. There's other things I could throw. I've got several. My desk is a mess.
Let's do it.
Oh yeah, you do have my
That's
hair
how we're
tie.
ending.
That's how we're ending.
Yeah, that's the new ritualistic ending. So you throwing something at the camera. I'm gonna have to be ready to end it. So that way I don't have to go back and edit.
It's been fun.
It's been fun.
It's been fun.
You're gonna close us out?
Yeah, and I just want to say that I am so proud of all of you for watching. It really warms my heart.
He's like your really weird dad. I'm so proud of you for watching.
I love you all, especially throw my. That's blasphemy. That's heresy.
I'll throw my base. Let's go. Hold on, I can throw some picks at it. Do you want me to throw picks?
Hold on. There's got to be something. There's got to be something. I don't know what's in here. I don't know what's.
Here we go. This is a fair amount of picks that I'm never gonna find again, all because of.
Oh hey, look! It's Starbucks. No, I got it.
Oh, you're gonna do that?
Yeah.
Or we could both throw something at the same time. That'd
be nifty, I think. How are we gonna do that though?
3, 2, 1. That actually hit a bass string.